All right, hey folks, so we're going to do some game design today. Give me a second here to check my signal, make sure everything's coming through clear. We'll do a quick intro, and then we'll get to work on completing the color mana version of Ranger for the martial power system using 5e24 mechanics. So first I'm going to check in on my signal to make sure that we sound clear, and first I'm going to check in on my signal to make sure that we sound clear, and
yeah, it sounds like it's doing pretty good. I'll drop that down to there so it doesn't get in the way of us. I'm going to grab that link here for the social medias, and give me another hot second here, and then we'll get updated. So let's see, clickety click, almost done. I'll just entertain you guys here for a quick second with my origin story here. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish online, and I've been creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, publishing on the DMsGuild since 2018. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. The first books that I created on DMsGuild in 2018 was the Color Mana spell point variant rules that converts the Vancian spellcasting and schools of magic that are tradition to D&D and replaced them with the Color Mana system from the Magic the Gathering card set. Basically, spell points that are all spells in Magic are devoted to one or more colors of magic, and then you have spell points that are also devoted to colors of magic. And if you want to throw a fireball, then you spend red mana to cast a fireball. It's a very simple system. There's a stack of books linked down below that walk through the process of how to utilize it. And we're using that same system here for martial characters in a revised, like a 5th edition version of the Book of Nine Swords from 3rd edition, or 3.5, and so it's spell points. It just naturally curves into the color mana system. Once this is completed, all 13, or if the Scion lands, all 14 character classes will all have the same mana system to unite as a base mechanic across all 14 classes, and we are updating currently the subclasses for the Rangers. So just to conclude where we're at. If you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a stack of books that I've already created on the DMsGuild. They all have, just click free preview or the eye icon on your phone to take a look at the kind of stuff that I build. This is a link to all the color mana books that we've made that the spell point system came from. It's all for 2014, but we're updating all of it for 2024. And if you want to play along, here is the Martial Power playtest document. This is far from the final word. This is just our working model for our playtesting that you are certainly welcome to dip into. It has all 14 classes from level 1 to 20, fully converted to the 5e24 mechanics and the color mana mechanics using 5e24 rules for all classes and subclasses, and that have been published by Wizards of the Coast. So it's pretty extensive. If you want to catch up with us, it's a read-only document for you, but it gives you the ability to interact with the stuff. So let's go. Let's scroll up to. Let's see. Here's the rogue. So we have yet to go. We just did the Winter Walker last session. So we have the Swarm Keeper, the Monster Slayer, and the Horizon Walker. Those are the 3 that we have left. We did Hollow Warden like 3 weeks ago, so that's up to date. And this is the most. And then we did Winter Walker like 2 sessions ago, and now we only have Horizon Walker, Monster Slayer, and Swarm Keeper. So sticking with that, we're going to look at the subclass features. We have D&D Beyond queued up here with the Horizon Walker for us to look at the details as necessary if needed. And then here we also have I'm going to actually pluck this. I'm going to pluck our window here and drop this down separately. And then I'm going to grab this for our Ranger, and we're currently down on page 91 of the document for the Horizon Walker subclass. And then over here, we're looking at martial powers. Let's go to here. Let's scroll down to our list of powers. So here's all the powers that are listed. It's at the front of the book. It's 192 of them. 124 of them use mana, and the other 68 of them are like cantrip sort of effects. They don't cost any mana, but you do have to prepare them. And just looking at again the Ranger's base scaffold, level 1 to 20. Hunter's Mark, the spell has been replaced with the class feature Mark of Prey. Mark of Prey advances at level 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17. That coincides with the new level of spells that you can cast as a half-caster, or also the max rank of power. You can channel as a martial channeler. The Ranger, the Paladin, the Artificer, they can freely choose between spells and powers when they prepare. And you can change one spell when you finish a long rest, and you can swap out your entire kit of spells and or powers when you gain a level. Power die, we talked about this. Again, it's when you're doing a D20 test, the amount of mana that you spend, depending on what power you use, the amount of mana you spend is going to dictate how many dice you can throw. For a D20 test, you'll keep the best result and add it to your D20 test. If you're dealing damage or healing, you'll take all the dice, add them up, and then that's the added damage or the amount of hit points that you heal, or like create temporary hit points or whatever. So we have those two gears for the powers, and then we have the max rank, 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, 1 through 5. The powers that we have prepared, it starts with 4, and it'll cap out at 23. We don't gain, you can see here that we've removed fighting style and weapon masteries from class features, because with this system, weapon masteries and fighting styles are considered prepared powers. There's some of the meta powers that you can pick up. They don't cost any mana to use them, but you do have to have them prepared. So that'll eat up most of your power budget. You would have, like, for instance, you'd have like a weapon mastery and a fighting style, and then, like, say 2 spells or powers. Or you could have 4 spells, or you could have 4 mana powers, or you could have 4 weapon masteries, or 4 feats. You can break it up, one each of those, like 1 spell, 1 power, 1 feat, 1 weapon mastery if you wanted to. You could break them up, but they're all considered prepared powers that you can take advantage of. And then your mana pool, it's on a short rest like a monk. So you start with 1 mana at first level, you'll cap with 20 mana at 20th level, you get it back on a short rest or long rest. And we have the generating action economy. Let's see. Yeah, scrolling back up to the top of the document. Again, just to look at temporary hit points and action economy, efficient powers. Temporary mana is when you generate temporary mana, you use it during the turn that you create the mana. And if you haven't used it, it goes away. You don't get any, and it's just gone. If you use, you can, with empowered actions, you can sacrifice action economy during combat to generate temporary mana. So reactions, you can sacrifice your reaction during any turn to generate 1 point of temporary mana. If you can take multiple reactions per round, you can sacrifice any number of them to generate 1 point each time at any during. You can generate 1 point each at any time during a round of combat. So if you're going to sacrifice, like sometimes, opportunist allows you to convert attacks during the attack action into additional reactions. So like an 11th level fighter could sacrifice all 3 attacks during the attack action, not take any attacks with that attack action during your turn, but instead get 4 reactions. And so now you have like 4 opportunity attacks, or like if you have counter spell or something like that, you could do 4 of them until the beginning of your next turn. And whatever reactions you haven't used at the beginning of your next turn, you sacrifice those remaining reactions. You've already lost the actions during your last turn, and you don't get to make use of, and you could sacrifice any number of those 4 reactions to generate mana on somebody else's turn. Like I could take a reaction to like cast counter spell, and then like a
13th level Eldritch Knight fighter could then take the mana that you generated to then sacrifice that mana to cast Counterspell for free. So you've sacrificed all of your attacks and your thus creating 4 reactions, and you've sacrificed all 4 reactions to generate 3 mana to cast Counterspell for free. The only thing that you have left is your bonus action during your turn and your movement during your turn. So movement doesn't generate action economy, but bonus actions do. At first level, it generates 1 point of mana. At 9th level, it generates 3 points of mana. At 17th level, it generates 3 mana. And then each attack that you sacrifice also can generate a point of mana. So that 11th level fighter, during your turn, you take the attack action, you sacrifice all 3 attacks. You can now, like say as a bonus action, you now have 3 extra temporary mana that you could use to like channel a 3rd rank power, like Anchor or something like that. To channel that power, and if it requires 3 mana, those 3 attacks pay for that, but you've given up all of your attacks during the attack action to do it. So you're either sacrificing action economy to do Big Boom, or you're using all of your action economy, and if you want to do Big Boom, then you take it out of your mana pool, which is obviously very limited at 1 point per level per short rest. You don't have a lot. So if you want to do a lot of powers during combat and stuff, you're going to end up sacrificing action economy to reduce what you can do during a turn to have more impact on what you do during your turn. So it's a really fun system. That's been working incredibly well during the playtesting. So I'm really excited about that. But again, looking at the Rangers specifically, Rangers, every subclass gets 10 spells, or if the class gets 5 spells normally, then you get another 5 powers on top of it, so you get a total of 10 bonus things. And then beyond that, if you don't get any spells from your subclass, like the Beastmaster, for instance, doesn't get any spells, instead you would then get 10 powers that you would always be able to spend mana on. So every subclass in the book now, or every subclass that exists, all of them get 10 bonus something. So we all have 23 powers that we can prepare, and then we get 10 bonus from our subclass. So every class gets 33 total by 20th level. So it's all on an equal playing field. And the amount of mana that you can generate, the short rest mechanics for the half casters and martial characters. If you're getting one short rest with the amount of action economy you can generate from sacrificing actions, it's going to end up with the same amount of mana that the full casters get as a long rest. And full casters don't get to generate mana with action economy. They just have a fat mana pool to cast with. So that's where we're at. We're going to continue building out. We are currently looking at the Horizon Walker. Jumping over here real quick to borrow. We get, I need to list out the spells. So we get Protverse, Evil, and Good. And then 5th is Misty Step. 9th is Haste. Great spell list. 13th is Banishment. 17th is Teleportation Circle. There we go. We've already built this out before. Right now we're spot checking to make sure everything still makes sense. Sonic Strike is still 1st rank. Precise Attack is still a 2nd rank exploit. Anchor is still a 3rd rank reaction. Ghost Walker is still a 3rd rank sustained action. And Indestructible is also still a 4th rank sustained power. We've looked at all of these recently, so I'm not going to go over the details specifically on them. If something new crops up, we'll look at it. But these are all valid still, so that's good. 3rd level, Detect Portal. As a magic action, you can detect the distance and direction to the closest portal within 1 mile of you per rank of power gained as a ranger. So a 9th level ranger could detect portals up to 3 miles away. You can maintain concentration to sustain this awareness, gaining and losing awareness of any current or new portals that you move within range of sensing. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Alternatively, you can burn 1 mana to regain use of this feature. See the planar travel section in Chapter 2 of the DMG for examples of planar portals.
So yeah, you can turn this effect on as a magic action. You can attack to 1 mile. You can maintain concentration as a level 1 spell to sustain this awareness. Actually, you can maintain concentration as a cantrip to sustain this. That gives you. That means that the concentration DC is only 10, and it doesn't get in the way of sustaining any powers or maintaining concentration on other spells. You can maintain concentration on cantrips without them impacting your ability to concentrate on anything else or to sustain any amount of power that your character is capable of sustaining. But if your concentration is disrupted, it's gone. And then for you to use it again, you have to spend mana to get it back. So that's a fair feature. So I'm glad we specified that. As a cantrip, level 0. Planar Warrior, you can choose to deal either force, necrotic, or radiant damage instead of weapon damage when you hit a creature marked as your prey. We've already been playing with this idea recently. We picked up Psionic Strike at as our first bonus power that we gain at 3rd level. So Planar Warrior, Psionic Strike lets us do psychic or force damage. So as a maneuver, you can pick up. Looking at meta powers, you can prepare damage types. It doesn't cost any mana to use them, but if you have it prepared, you can always choose to deal that type of damage if you want. Alternate damage as power. At 1st rank, at level 1, basically, you can prepare these types of damage. And when you use them, it converts your weapon damage, and any additional damage that you deal can be of the chosen damage type if you choose. So if I chose fire and lightning as 2 separate powers, anytime I hit something with a weapon attack, I could deal fire or lightning damage. And if I dump mana to ramp up the damage or use sneak attack or have a magic weapon, all of this bonus damage could be fire or lightning damage or whatever damage it would normally be on its own. By the time I get to 2nd rank, which is 5th level, I could choose... I can choose Force, Necrotic, Psychic, Radiant, or Thunder damage. Those are the 5 advanced damage types that by 5th level, like for example, a monk at 5th level can automatically deal force damage with unarmed attacks. So we already have precedence that it's reasonable for a character at 5th level to be dealing force damage when you attack things with weapons. So this is forces, this has the cost of a prepared power, or again, like a spell, for instance. So a DM can play keep away with damage types. It's okay for a DM to have creatures that are resistant or like immune to cold damage, because once your team realizes that, you could take a rest, kit out, change the powers that you have to find, like maybe they're vulnerable to say lightning damage. So you would know, okay, well, we don't want any cold damage, we want lightning damage. So let's rest and prepare for this fight and get ourselves into lightning damage. And if you have a monster, like if you have a hunter, ranger, a mastermind rogue, a battle master, fighter, I think those are the 3 types that can identify weaknesses and immunities on creatures as an action. You can just look at them as like, I know for a fact you can do X, Y, and Z. That gives you the ability to research these different monsters that you're observing and decide if you want to attack them now or not, retreat to prepare yourself to do so. And the DM with intelligent creatures can swap what types of immunities, resistances, and weaknesses they have, so that you can be playing. So your puzzle becomes, what kind of damage types do we want to use against the creatures that we're facing right now? So that's just a fun dynamic that DMs and players can both take advantage of to keep the game dynamic and to add variety to your threats. Like you could have a troll that would normally be able to regenerate unless it's hit by fire or acid damage. Well, you could have frozen trolls that
can't regenerate, say, cold damage. Like you hit them with cold damage, they can't regenerate from that, for instance. Who knows? But like they could be resistant to that cold damage. So cold damage prevents them from generating that damage, but they're really resilient against it, so it becomes a harder fight. Like that's a fun dynamic you can play with. So okay, great. So keeping moving forward. So we want to change this. Let's look at what we did with the Hollow Warden. Hollow Warden's not a good example. Let's go down to the Winter Walker. Frigid Explorer, Polar Strikes. When you channel Freezing Strike, because we get Freezing Strike as a free power at 3rd level. So when you channel Freezing Strike after hitting your marked prey, you can also use either the Vex or Sap Mastery as part of the strike effect. The Freezing Strike reduces the speed of the target you hit by half its speed. As opposed to the Slow Mastery reduces their speed by 10 feet and can't stack. The Freezing Strike really slows them down. Excuse me, I'm yawning a little bit. So we have that kicker effect. When you use a strike power, strike powers are like leveled spells, while weapon masteries are like cantrips. So if I'm using a strike power, I can't use a mastery at the same time unless there's something specifically that says that you can, like the martial strike power, or in this instance the polar strike power that the Winter Walker gets. So taking that same idea, when we go to the Horizon Walker, we can swap out Planar Warrior and instead do this. When you channel Psionic Strike, because we get Psionic Strike at 3rd level, right? So when you channel Psionic Strike after hitting your marked prey, you can also use either the Vex or Sap Mastery as part of the strike effect. Do we want Vex and Strike as our as the 2 options for your mastery? No. But here's a list of 12 masteries that exist that we can choose from. So Planar Warrior. Let's see. We could go with slow, or Addle's not a bad one. Intelligence save and can't take opportunity attacks until the end of their next turn. That's not bad. Disarm is kind of nothing burger. Cleave doesn't always apply. It needs to be something that's universally applicable. If you miss an attack, deal your attack ability modifier and weapon damage. That's not bad. But you have to hit with the attack to trigger it, so Graze wouldn't make sense there. Nick doesn't work because it requires dual wielding like weapons, and we can't guarantee like an archer ranger wouldn't be able to use that, so that becomes a dead feature. Push isn't horrible. I like push. So we can go with step is when you hit a target, you can move 5 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. It's just Vex and Sap are such just universally good things to have. Vex gives you advantage on your next attack roll, and Sap, hit target on next attack has disadvantage. So those are both really good features. They're just good general features. Topple's not bad. Target you hit makes a strength or saving throw, strength or dex save, or against the prone condition. Let's go with topple. Let's go with push and step. How about that? Push, you push something 10 feet away. Step, you can move 5 feet without provoking opportunity attacks. I like that. Let's go with step and push. So when you channel the Psionic Strike after hitting your marked prey, you can use either the push or step mastery. As part of the strike effect. The Psionic Strike, all Psionic Strike does is either force or psychic damage, but you get access to it whenever you hit. When you mark a target, instead of Hunter's Mark, we have brain freeze. Let me go find it again. Here for the ranger, down on page. Again, this document, if you click on the link in the description down below for the playtest, you can look at this as well. It's read only, but it reads Mark of Prey. There it is. Replaces Hunter's Mark. As a bonus action, you can mark a creature that you can see within 120 feet of yourself as your prey. This can be done immediately after an attack with a weapon if the target is not currently your prey, applying any additional effects gained by Mark of Prey to the creature you hit. And the effect is that while a creature is marked, you gain advantage on intelligence, investigation, wisdom, insight, perception, survival skill checks related to your prey. And in addition, when you hit your prey with a weapon attack, you gain 1 point of temporary mana to expend as a strike power, and you add the martial strike power to your list of powers without counting against the number you can prepare. So this, like, if I have you marked as my prey and I hit you with a weapon attack, I can immediately apply any strike power that I know. And the Horizon Walker, where'd you go? There you are. Horizon Walker gets Psionic Strike, first rank strike power at 3rd level when you gain this subclass. So you can always use Psionic Strike when you hit your mark of your target that you have marked as your prey. And with the Planar Warrior feature, when I do use Psionic Strike, not only am I going to do psychic or force damage, but I can also push or step as part of that effect. So that allows us to ignore the limitation of not being able to use a mastery at the same time as a strike power. This allows you to ignore that rule. 7th level, Etheric Step. As a maneuver, which means you can do it as an action or a bonus action, and you can sacrifice action economy to generate mana to use it for free. You can cast the Etherealness spell with this feature without expending a spell slot, but the spell ends at the end of the current turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Alternatively, you can burn 2 mana to regain this feature. Once you... Let's see, as a maneuver, right, you can cast the Etherealness spell until you finish a long rest. You can choose to expend 2 mana. Wait. Alternatively, you can expend 2 mana when you use this. When you use Ethereal Step. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Alternatively, you can expend 2 mana. When you use Ethereal Step. You can expend 2 mana to regain. As a 2nd rank maneuver, you can cast the Etherealness spell with this feature without. You can cast this. You can cast the Etherealness spell with this feature. Comma. As a 2nd rank maneuver, which means it costs 2 mana to use it, you can cast the Etherealness spell with this feature, but the spell ends at the end. But the spell ends at the end of the current turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again. I can get rid of that language. Let's see. As a 2nd rank maneuver, you gain a unique 2nd rank maneuver
called Ethereal Step. Comma, which allows you to cast the Etherealness spell without VSM components. But the spell ends at the end of the current turn. So it's a maneuver, which means you can expend, like at level 7 you have 2 attacks. So I could spend 2 mana to trigger this effect, and it'll allow me to go ethereal until the end of the next round, or I could, like, say, sacrifice my reaction and sacrifice one of my attacks to generate 2 free points of mana to pay for this ethereal step. And I could do that every round. So I could perpetuate jumping into the ethereal plane round after round during combat. It's like, say, fight phase spiders in the ethereal plane, for example. I would be able to arrive there using a bonus action, because a maneuver can be used as an action, as a magic action or a bonus action. So if I take the attack action, I sacrifice one of my attacks to generate a point of mana. I sacrifice my reaction to generate a second point of mana. I can now use Ethereal Step for free as a bonus action, leaving me with movement and an attack in the ethereal plane before my turn ends and I return back to the physical plane. I could do that every round. So we could, like, our team in the playtesting right now is fighting phase spiders. So they're popping in and out of the ethereal plane. The Horizon Walker is pretty much the only class in the game that can actually interact with them without having true sight and force damage weaponry. Interesting. I like that. Let's go to Distance Strike. When you take the attack action, you can teleport up to 10 feet before each attack. You can teleport up to 10 feet before or after each attack to an unoccupied space you can see. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with the action, you can make 1 additional attack with it against a third creature. The third attack can't be used with empowered attacks or empowered maneuvers. This third attack, can't be used to. But if it's against your marked target, you would be able to. If you attack at least 2 creatures, I'm not necessarily liking that. I know that's what's in the book, but let's see how it's actually written in the book. Let's look at that real quick. 11th level Distance Strike. At 11th level, you gain the ability to pass between planes. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with this action, you can make 1 additional attack with it against a third creature. So it's forcing you to make an attack against a third creature if you already attacked 2 creatures. How can I standardize that? So we know that Fighter gets a third attack at 11th level. We don't want to I don't think we just want to give him a carte blanche third attack. Distance Strike. If you attack at least 2 different creatures. Oh, I see what I'm trying to say there. Got it. This third attack can't be sacrificed. That's the word I want to say. Can't be sacrificed to generate mana. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with this action, you can only make. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with the action, you can make 1 additional attack with it against a third creature. The third, this extra attack can't be sacrificed to generate mana. Yeah, that's all I needed to say there. That's good. To generate temporary mana. That's good language. Attack 2 creatures, I get a third. That's so situational. It's iffy. I don't love that. I don't love it. If you attack at least 2 different creatures with this, with these 2 different creatures with the attack action, you can make 1 additional attack with against a third. There we go. You can make 1 additional attack against a third creature. This extra attack can't be sacrificed to generate temporary mana. Yeah, that works. That actually works. I'm good with that. And it works with Nick as well. Like make an attack, and then I can use Nick on a separate target. That's 2. And then I would have an attack left over from 5th level that I'd be able to use on whatever. But if I already hit 2 targets, attack 2 targets, I can now have this to make a 3rd attack. I'm okay with that. Spectral Defense. When you take damage from an attack, you can use an opportunity attack to give yourself resistance. Yeah, I don't need to say that. That's weird. You can use a reaction to give yourself resistance to that instance of damage unless it's force damage. Yourself resistance to that damage, to that type of damage, until the beginning of your next turn, unless it's force damage. That's too good because evasion works that way. Resistance to that instance of damage. Unless it's force damage. Fuck that. Rogues can go against any damage, so we're just gonna call it any type of damage. I don't see a reason to make force damage be the exception. Force damage isn't the exception for rogues, so why would it need to be for ranger? That doesn't make any sense. Evasion. Well, hold on. Do we already get evasion? Is this a nothing burger feature? Hold on. Oh, it's any type of damage. When you take an instance of damage, that's better than evasion. It's like uncanny strike. It's like uncanny dodge and evasion wrapped into the same thing. Do we have epic, feral, improved, expertise, extra attack? Yeah, we don't. Okay, no, that's actually really good. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's good. That's good. Okay, cool. So that resolves Horizon Walker. Very simple. I'm really happy about that. Excellent. And now we'll go into the Monster Slayer, and then we have Swarm Keeper. We just did Winter Walker like last week. So Horizon Walker is resolved. Let's go to Monster Slayer. First thing we want to do is let's go to the book to see what we get. Monster Slayer. I think Monster Slayer gets. Yep, Monster Slayer gets some spells. Monster Slayer. Let's use the same format that we have here. So if you only get 5 spells, then you get 5 powers. If you don't get any spells, you get 10 powers. If you get 10 spells, you don't get any bonus powers. In that sense, all classes end up getting 10 bonus powers, or spells, depending. Like a cleric gets 10 bonus spells. Druid gets 10 bonus spells. The wild magic sorcerer gets 10 meta magics, as opposed to 10 specific spells. Every time at 3, 5, 7, 9, you can pick meta magics. A whole stack of them. There's 23 meta magics for the sorcerer to choose from, and you can get 10 for free just by taking the wild sorcerer class. That I love that thematic, by the way. I mean, I'll toot my own horn here real quick. Prot from evil and good. Prot versus evil and good. I love Zone of Truth. That we give the sorcerer a shitload of bonus meta magic. Like the wild magic sorcerer just makes the most sense to have the most assumed modifying spell abilities. I love that. Banishment. That's down on page like 120 something. So again, you can peel open this document by just clicking on the link down below. It'll be read only. Hold monster, because it's just a playtest document. So I mean, you can look,
But once it's published, like all the other books I have listed down below, it's 100% free preview, so you can read the whole thing, and if you decide it's cool, you can pick it up. And God bless you if you do. Martial Strike is no longer relevant because all Rangers get Martial Strike for free as part of the Mark of Prey class feature that replaces Hunter's Mark. So let's go hunt for a suitable strike power. Scrolling up. What feels like a good monster hunter? Goading Strike feels like a really good monster hunter. Your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature you strike has disadvantage on any attack made that doesn't target you. The effect ends if it can no longer see you or when it successfully hits you with an attack. This creature can attempt to end the effect early by succeeding an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns. Tripping, Thundering. Well, Repositioning Strike's not horrible. Deal 1 power die of extra damage for every point of mana that you spend, and you can move 5 feet per mana channeled. So at 9th level, I can channel 3 mana. If I do, I can hit. I'll do an extra 3d8 damage, and I can move 15 feet without provoking opportunity attack. That's not bad either. Goading Strike or Repositioning Strike versus Monster Hunter. On any attack made that doesn't target you. Let's go with Repositioning Strike. STR1. Slayer's Sense. At 3rd level, you gain the ability to peer at a creature and magically discern how to best hurt it. When you mark a target as your prey, you immediately learn whether the creature has any damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and what they are. If the creature is hidden from divination magic, you sense that it has no damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities. Really useful. You can use this feature a number of times equal to the max rank of power you gained as a ranger. So at level 3 it'd be once, at level 9 it'd be 3, 17 would be 5. You regain all uses when you finish a long rest. Alternatively, you regain 1 use by burning 1 mana. You regain 1 use by expending 1 mana. No action required. It's not a specific maneuver. It's just automatically part of the bonus action. Slayer's Sense, Slayer's Prey. Level 3, Slayer's Prey. When you hit your marked prey with a weapon attack, any strike power you channel increases the power die size by 1. Up to a D12. When you hit your marked prey with a weapon attack. Any strike power you channel increases the die size by 1. We already have one. We already have that going with Martial Strike. So this feels duplicative. I don't want to just duplicate. Let's go back to Horizon Walker. And let's grab the language that we have for the Planar Warrior, which we just resolved. Hey folks, how you guys doing? Glad to have you on board today. Slayer's Prey. When you channel Repositioning Strike after hitting your marked prey, you can also use either the Vex or Sap. Those are really just really good go-tos. Vex gives you advantage on the next attack. Sap gives them disadvantage on their next attack. You can choose either one. Plus, you have the repositioning. So for every point of mana you put into it, you can move 5 feet without provoking an opportunity attack.
And then if that prey happens to be, if that target happens to be your marked prey, then you can also use Vex or Sap on it. Your choice, either one. I love that. Supernatural defense. I love that we found that mechanic. That's so fun. Anything that can lean into like the base class features of a class and to enhance them, like the sorcerer subclasses. All of our sorcerer subclasses have something that triggers when you are using your innate sorcery, as opposed to when you're not using innate sorcery. Like it buffs the reason for you to use innate sorcery as a class feature. Currently, the Wizards of the Coast, none of their subclasses do that, but they created that feature specifically in 5e24 to give the sorcerer a leg up and a little bit more uniqueness from, say, the wizard or the bard. But they didn't follow through by making that a core feature that's integrated into their subclasses. So I thought that was really important to do that. So that was one of the modifications that we made. And again, you can see that down like around page 124 or something like that. Magical Nemesis. Oh wait, 7th level. Supernatural defense. Level 7. It's been a while since we've come through. We've changed the format since then. When your marked prey forces you to make a saving throw, or you make an ability check to escape a grapple against that creature, add 1 power die. Add 1 power die to the roll using the larger power die. No, there we go. Roll 1 power die to the roll. So at level 7, it's a D6. At level 9, it's a D8. At level 17, it's a D10. And if it's your marked prey, at level 20, it's a D12. So when your marked prey forces you to make a saving throw, or you make an ability check to escape a grapple against that creature, add 1 power die to the roll. I love that. That's great. Magical Nemesis. When targeting your marked prey, countering attack. Oh, I need to check these real quick. Hold on. Repositioning, yes. Anticipate is a first rank reaction. I believe that's still true. We need to check these out real quick just to make sure. Reactions. Reaction 1. Anticipate. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack that you can see makes an attack, before they roll to hit, you make an attack against it. And then as a kicker, you could roll 1 power die per mana spent on as a kicker, adding the highest result to the attack roll. There you go. So I spend 1 point to anticipate in the first place, and then I can spend additional mana to ramp up the attack bonus. So it'd be 1 for anticipate, and then another point to add a power die. If I'm 9th level, I could put up to 3 extra mana to roll 3 8-sided dice, keep the best result of those 3, and add it to the attack roll that I made with anticipate. And kickers are considered exploits, so you can expend mana on kickers. Generated mana, like from attack actions or whatever. Countering attack. I think this is still... Yeah, countering attack. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack uses the magic action, make an attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channeling DC, or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the action is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. There you go. Curse of Exposure. As a reaction to when you see a creature within range, which is 60 feet, taking damage. All reactions and powers have a range of 60 feet unless it specifies otherwise. Like point and click effect is always within 120. It's always 60 feet unless it specifically says otherwise. So as a reaction to when you see a creature within range, so within range here always means 60 feet unless otherwise stated. If it has resistance, as a reaction to when you see a creature within range taking damage, If it has resistance, it loses this property. Alternatively, if the creature is immune to the damage, it instead takes half damage. This effect ends immediately after the creature takes damage. So, Curse of Exposure, it's a 3-point mana reaction. And we already know from the Monster Slayer features, Supernatural Slayer Senses. When we target something, we automatically know its resistances and vulnerabilities and immunities, if it has any. So by targeting the creature, and then we deal damage to it, if we know the damage that we're dealing it's resistant or immune to, we can then use our reaction, spend some mana, and make it lose resistance or become take half damage to the immunity. So, what does this feature do? Supernatural Defense. When your marked prey forces... Okay, we already did that. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack, reaction, or the Curse of Exposure maneuver, reaction powers. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack or the Curse of Exposure reaction powers, reduce their rank and amount of mana they require to channel by 1. That's that language is we're trying to reduce the cost for targeting your prey. Reduce the rank. Let's look at them again real quick just to see how they read, because that's not landing with me smooth. As a reaction, so this is binary. It either is or isn't. And countering attack. Countering attack's only 2 mana, and you could make it efficient to drop the cost to 1. And then with this ability, that would essentially make countering attack free to use. That's too good. It's too good. How do I want to do this? That's some serious mage slaying. I like the idea of it. Countering attack. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack uses the magic action, make an attack. If it hits, the target takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against. Let's change that. Magical Nemesis. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack or the Curse of Exposure reaction powers, which can be done during your own turn as a reaction to them taking damage, which would be Curse of Exposure. And mark a prey. Let's read Curse of Exposure one more time. As a reaction to when you see a creature within range taking damage, if it has resistance. And this is when a creature within range of your weapon attempts the magic action. You can make an attack and force a saving throw. So this is going to be during your enemy's turn, and this one's going to be during your turn. So those have different action economies, different timing, different mana costs. Ain't making this easy on me. As a reaction to when you see a creature within range taking damage, if it has resistance, it loses this property. What's Magical Nemesis? Let's look at what Magical Nemesis is supposed to be and see what insights we gain there. Magic users in Nemesis. When you see a creature casting a spell or teleporting within 60 feet of you, you can use your reaction to try to magically foil it. The creature must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or its spell or teleportation fail. It's wasted. Magic action is also teleporting. So there's that. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest. Anticipate, countering attack,
curse of exposure. Let's see. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack or the curse of exposure reaction powers. I'm noodling on this one, guys. Give me a second. I'll figure this one out. Let's see what we find. What can we find? We could do something like when you target them, you get a bonus that, like, you can make an attack as part of that reaction. That's not a horrible idea, but countering attack is already an attack as a reaction, so that doesn't make sense there. Curse of exposure does, but countering attack doesn't. The feature's really born around countering attack. When targeting your marked prey, or the curse of exposure reaction powers, they're trying to do something. They're trying to resist. I want some sort of a kicker effect when I use my reaction this way. What if I got an extra reaction to use specifically with this, or it doesn't cost a reaction to use it? I like that idea. Slayer's Rebuke. Let's look at this real quick. I'm going to let my brain rest on that for a second and move on to the next thing. Level 15, Slayer's Rebuke. When your marked prey forces you to make a saving throw, you can make an opportunity attack against it. If you hit, you automatically succeed the save. Holy shit, I love that. That's incredibly strong. When targeting your marked prey with countering attack or a curse of exposure, reaction powers. What if, when targeting your marked prey with a reaction, what about a kicker effect? Curse of exposure automatically works if it has something it would work with. Countering attack is an attack that, if I hit, forces you to make a save DC against me, and I spoil your magic action. Spoil your magic action, spoil your resistance or immunity. Let's see. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack. So it's we've already spent a bonus action to mark that creature so that we can do shit against them. When targeting your marked prey with these reactions. Was there something earlier? Slayer's Sense, no. Slayer's Prey. Vex or Sap. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack or the curse of exposure reaction powers, you can. When your marked prey forces you to make a saving throw, you can make an opportunity attack against it. You can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against it. If you hit, you automatically succeed the save. That's really good. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack. So I like the idea of reducing the mana cost, but the problem is that countering attack is only 2 mana, and you could learn the power twice to reduce its cost by 1. So if I reduce the cost of countering attack by 1 and have magical nemesis as a ranger, countering attack becomes free, which means I can basically spam counterspell for free as an attack, as a reaction, anytime, only once a round. But if I took Opportunist, I could sacrifice both of my attacks during the attack action and get 3 reactions. And each of them could be used to do a countering attack against different targets. But that would effectively allow me to counter spell 3 times per turn without spending any mana, and that's too good. It's too good. So that doesn't work. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack or the curse... Whoa, where'd you go? That was crazy. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. God, I'm really sticking on this one. Originally it was reduce the cost by 1, but with efficient power, it's too good. It can't be free. It's always got to cost you at least something, so we can't do that. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack or the curse of exposure reaction powers, I could... I can't make it not use a reaction, because then I'd be able to spam it just like I'd be able to spam anything else, like any other reaction that way, and I don't want to be able to do that either. Let's see. Magical Nemesis. When targeting your marked prey with countering attack or the curse of exposure reaction power, like, because I can use oh god, this is so tricky, because curse of exposure can be used during your turn. It does eat the reaction though. When targeting your marked prey with the countering attack, let's do it this way. You gain an additional reaction each round that you can use to target your marked prey with the countering attack or the curse of exposure reaction powers. With either the countering attack or the curse of reaction power. I like that. I think that works. Let me just read through it again. You gain an additional reaction each round that you can use that you can use to target your marked prey with either the countering attack or the curse of exposure reaction powers. This additional reaction cannot be used to generate temporary mana. There you go. Hey, we did it. We figured it out. So we automatically get an extra action. So I could take this and Opportunist, and with Opportunist sacrifice both of my attacks during my round, and that would give me 3 reactions and Magical Nemesis for a 4th reaction that I can take per turn. So that would make me pretty fucking tough. Again, a really good Mage Slayer. Really, really just want to wade into battle against a bunch of Illithid with this guy. I love it. Slayer's Rebuke. When your marked prey forces you to make a saving throw, you can use your reaction to make an opportunity attack against it. If you hit, you automatically succeed the save. Cool. Okay, I am legit happy with those results. Took a little while for us to get there, but I'm happy with the end result. That's really cool. It's really cool. That's cool. Right on. Swarmkeeper, back into it. So we have our power list. We got bonus spells. Let's grab this format here again real quick, and we'll go down to Swarmkeeper. Swarmkeeper is super cool. Let's go like this. We'll fix this. This is the Curse of the Fallen. Okay, let's check these real quick. Distracting Strike. Strike 2. Distracting Strike. Should still be valid. Yeah, Distracting Strike. Your weapon deals extra damage equal to 1 power die per mana expended this way, and the next attack roll against the target has advantage if the attack is made before the start of your next turn. So you give your friend basically pack tactics there. What else do we get? Controlled Fall, reaction 1. Controlled Fall. As a reaction to falling, you can land on your feet instead of prone and reduce the damage taken by 10 times your max rank of power. So at 17th level, you can fall 50 feet and land on your feet and take no damage. And reduce the damage taken by 50 damage at 17th level. And the max damage you can take is what, 20d6? Which is going to average 60 damage. So you'll take just a little bit of damage, but you'll land on your feet. That's not bad. Controlled Fall, Cloud Strider, Sus 2, Sustained Power, 2nd rank. I believe this still exists. It's been a while. It may have been replaced. Ooh, 2nd rank. Not seeing it. Castigation, auto maneuvers, omnilinguist, rad, trapa, instant, extended reach, crouching stance, cliff runner, close quarter combat, aquatic anatomy, adaptive resistance. 3rd rank? Wind Strider, there it is. While this power is sustained, you can fly using your walking speed and hover. When the power ends, you benefit from the effects of a Featherfall spell until you occupy a space on a solid surface or a liquid that can support you. Wind Strider. Sus 3. Defense Barrier. I think it's a 3rd rank reaction now. Hold on. Let's see. We'll find it. Defense Barrier. 3. Yeah, it's 3rd rank. As a reaction to a source you can see targeting you with an attack, you create a momentary opaque barrier, granting you full cover against the attack, causing it to automatically miss unless it ignores full cover. The barrier disappears at the beginning of your next turn. You create a momentary opaque barrier. Made of force, granting you full cover against the attack. You create a momentary two-dimensional opaque barrier made of force, granting you full cover against the attack, causing it to automatically miss unless it ignores full cover. The barrier disappears at the beginning of your next turn. It's expensive, it's 3, but it's also just a 2 that occupies as a reaction and instead takes half damage as a defense barrier as a reaction to a source you can see targeting you with an attack. You create a momentary two-dimensional opaque barrier made of force, granting you full cover against the attack. The barrier disappears at the beginning of the turn. The barrier is immobile. Doesn't block movement and disappears at the beginning of your next turn. There's some little caveats that we need to include in there so it doesn't mess around with the battlefield any more than it does. It's already just an object that blocks line of sight. And if your size huge because you've used giant growth at 13th level, it'll be a 15-foot barrier. If you're small, it'll be a small barrier.
As a reaction to a source you can see targeting you with an attack, you create a momentary two-dimensional opaque barrier made of force, granting you occupying your space and granting you full cover, causing it to automatically miss unless it ignores full cover. The barrier is immobile, doesn't block movement, doesn't prevent movement. And disappears at the beginning of your next turn. As a reaction to a source you can see targeting you with an attack. Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's go fetch our spells. Stormkeeper spells equal. Sure, Fairy Fire, Mage Hand. What else? Web. 9 is gaseous form. Arcane Eye. Great flavor. Hey, timely timer, keeping track of time with me. Insect plague. There we go. Okay, so let's start stacking up features. Level 3. Gathering Swarm. A swarm of intangible nature spirits have bonded itself to you and can assist you in battle. While you're alive, the swarm remains in your space, crawling on you or flying and skittering around you within your space. You determine its appearance. Choose 2 combat masteries. Add them to your list of prepared powers, and they don't count against your total number of powers known. You can choose new masteries when you gain a new ranger level. When you hit your marked prey, you can use either mastery as part of the damage you deal to your marked prey in addition to any strike powers you channel through Mark of Prey. So this is letting you use a strike power and any 2 combat masteries that you want. Distracting Strike. Distracting Strike gives your allies advantage on attacks. Let's use Addle and Sap. So instead, we're gonna change this language. Gathering Swarm. Choose 2 combat masteries when you hit your prey. We're gonna change this. So we go. We're gonna grab our link. We're just going to go with the same format we've been using for everything else. Copy. When you channel Distracting Strike. After hitting your marked prey, you can also use either the Addle or Sap Mastery. Addle is a intelligence saving throw or lose opportunity attacks this turn, this round, and Sap is your next attack is at disadvantage. So Distracting Strike gives your allies a power die bonus to their attack rolls, rather to the next attack roll. Kind of like Vex, but instead of advantage, it's stacking dice, and you can add Sap on top of it to give the target disadvantage on its next attack roll. Oh man, nothing tastes good like water when you're thirsty. I'm good with that. That feels really good. Get out of here, you little. Anyway, level 7, Writhing Tide. You can condense part of your swarm into a focused mass that lifts you up as a first rank sustained power to gain a flying speed of 10 feet, and you can hover. First rank sustained power, 10-foot flying speed, and hover. By 9th level, you have both gaseous form and Wind Strider. And Wind Strider is a 3rd rank sustained power. So it costs 3 for your movement speed plus hover. Well, this is just 1. So there's a significant difference between 1st and 3rd rank in power. So it's worth it. Especially early on like that. I'm pretty good with you getting at that level. I like that. Level 11. Mighty Swarm. Your gathered swarm grows mightier in the following ways while sustaining Writhing Tide here. The swarm gives you half cover. That's super worth. Even if you were to take even if you were to have Wind Strider while Writhing Tide was also active. Let's see, hold on. While sustaining Writhing Tide or Wind Strider, Wind Strider, is that what it's called? Strider. There. The swarm gives you half cover. Creatures that make a save against your swarm's combat masteries roll with disadvantage. Creatures that make a save against your swarm's combat mastery rolls with disadvantage. I'm going to change that. What's it called? Gathering Swarm. When you, we're going to change that. When you channel a distracting strike after hitting your marked prey, you can now use both the Addle and Sat Mastery as part of the strike effect. There. So when you hit your prey, your allies, it's automatically going to be at disadvantage, and it has to make the saving throw to avoid opportunity attacks. I'm pretty happy with that. Swarming Dispersal, that is level 15. This belongs here. And this belongs like that. And this deserves another space there. 2 spaces, 2 spaces. Good. Swarming Dispersal. You can discorporate into your swarm, avoiding danger. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to give yourself resistance to that damage. You vanish into your swarm and then teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see within 30 feet of you, where you reappear with the swarm. You can use this feature a number of times equal to the max rank of power you gained as a ranger. So at 15, you can use it 4 times. At 17, you'll be able to use it 5 times. And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You can regain 1 use by expending 3 mana, no action required. So I can do it as part of the reaction to trigger the effect, even if I'm out of uses. 1, 2, 3, there we go. And then we just did Winter Walker. Level 3. Level 3. Just doing some quick fixing on the edits here. Level 7. Level 11. Level 15. And there we go. All right, we're on to the rogue, eh? Welcome to the rogue. How are we looking on time? 7:26. Okay, we can play with rogue a little bit. I think I'm gonna go over the class features and how long have we been streaming? I feel like I want to stop. I don't think I want to go for 3 hours today. We've been going for an hour and a half already. Let's finish the rogue. Let's go through the rogue base features real quick to see, because I feel like I want to make some changes, and that might require a little bit of noodling to do. So I'm not liking the clunkiness of cunning strikes right now. So I want to revise that. So we're gonna dig into the rogue class features, figure out where we're at with this dude, and then carry on from there. So rogue progression table 1 to 20, short rest mana, 20 points. We can also again use action economy to sacrifice. We can sacrifice actions and attacks to generate free mana. Rogue does not get an extra attack at 5th level, very contrary to the other martial classes. So we need to compensate for that, and I don't think the compensation that we're using right now is quite working. It has the same scaling power dice structure as everybody else, D6, D8, D10 by 17. 5 ranks, half caster style, 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 for 1 to 5. Our sneak attack dice we get level 1, 2, 3, 10 dice by 19th level, 10d6. That's the same. Number of powers, we start with 4 and we end with 23. Again, the rogue now gets access to fighting styles, as well as weapon masteries and combat masteries that can be paired, in addition to powers in general. So let's take a look at how this is working. So our class features is channeling, the channeling class feature, expertise, sneak attack, thieves' cant, power of precision, cunning actions, rogue subclass, steady aim, feats at 4, cunning power, which replaces cunning strikes, uncanny dodge, expertise at 6, evasion, reliable talent, feat subclass feat, more cunning power, feat subclass feature, reliable power at 14, slippery mind, feat subclass features, superior cunning power, elusive, epic boon, and stroke of luck. So looking at the business here, mana, martial powers, let's kick this down. This beginning at 1st level, you learn 4 first rank powers from the martial powers list. You gain additional powers as you gain levels up to your maximum channeling rank as listed in the martial powers. You learn 4 powers. Yeah, you gain additional powers as you gain levels up to your maximum channeling rank as listed in the martial powers progression table above. You can swap 1 prepared power for another when you finish a long rest, and you can swap all prepared powers when you gain a level. Note, fighting styles and weapon masteries can be prepared as meta powers, but are not automatically gained as class features. Mana. 1st level, you have 1 point of mana. You can gain an additional point of mana every level with a maximum of 20 at 20th level, which are regained when you finish a short or long rest. Expertise. You gain expertise in 2 skills proficiencies of your choice. Sneak attack. Once per turn, you can deal an extra d6 damage to 1 creature you hit with an attack roll. If you have advantage on the roll and you can attack, use a finesse or ranged weapon. The extra damage type is the same as the weapons type. Which if powers deal a different type of damage, that overrides that. And like if you can deal psychic damage, sneak attack also deals psychic damage, for instance. You don't need advantage on the attack roll if at least one of your allies was within 5 feet of the target. The ally doesn't have the incapacitated condition, and you don't have disadvantages on the attack roll. The extra damage increases as you gain rogue levels, as shown on the sneak attack column of the rogues feature table above. Thieves Can't 1. You know Thieves Can't and one other language of your choice. Power over precision starting at first level. You can sacrifice any number of sneak attack dice to regain an equal amount of mana, no action required, up to the maximum mana pool total. Sneak attack dice sacrificed this way are recovered when you finish a short or long rest. Alternatively, you can sacrifice any amount of mana in your pool to recover an equal number of sneak attack dice that have been sacrificed this way. So you can generate mana by surrendering or sacrificing sneak attack damage, and that sneak attack damage goes away until you finish your short rest. But you get it all back when you finish the short rest. If you had any extra mana, that is gone. I'm having a problem with that, so we're gonna come back and we're gonna look at this. So cunning action, as a bonus action, you can dash, dodge, you can dash, disengage, or hide. Level 3 rogue subclass, again another one at 9, 13, and 17. Level 3, steady aim. You can sacrifice your movement to generate 1 point of mana or gain advantage on your next attack during your turn, which you could spend on any number of powers. You can sacrifice your movement to generate 1 point of mana or your next attack, or gain advantage on your next attack, which is basically steady aim as is written, is you can sacrifice your movement to then use a bonus action to gain advantage on an attack roll. That's too expensive. I mean, you are creating sneak attack for yourself. There's so many ways to generate advantage in the game that costing 2 types of action economy, it's too expensive. It's overtuned. It's just overpriced. Feet 4, 8, 10, 12, 16. Cunning Power. Okay, so Cunning Power, this replaces Cunning Strikes. At 5th level, when you deal sneak attack damage, you can choose to sacrifice 2 sneak attack dice to instead gain 1 temporary point of mana. That's too clunky. I want to change that completely. Improved Cunning Strike goes away. Superior Cunning Strike goes away. We can simplify this. We could simplify this down to Cunning Power. At 5th level, when you can deal sneak attack damage, you can instead choose to sacrifice your sneak attack dice to instead channel a strike power up to how to put it. You can instead choose to generate a number of temporary mana equal to the max rank of power you've gained as a rogue. So at 5th level, you can generate 2 points. So it'll cost you 1, 3, 5. It'll cost you 3 sneak attack dice, 3d6 damage, to instead gain 2 temporary points of mana, which could be channeled into a strike that'll do 2d6 damage plus whatever the kicker effect is for 2 mana. By 17th level, at 17th level, you can sacrifice up to 5 mana. You can channel up to 5 mana. So if you were to sacrifice, like at 17th level, all 9 of your sneak attack dice, you would instead gain 5 points of temporary mana that could be channeled into a strike power with 5 mana. And that would be 5d10 damage plus whatever the kicker effect is. It's actually not bad. It's actually really good. Is a little less damage, but a lot more power. Let's go down here. Let's kick down back to sneak attack. Extra damage increases. You gain rogue levels. You don't need advantage on the attack roll. Let's see. Sneak attack.
No, I was gonna write. You can use weapon masteries with sneak attack, but that's assumed, so I don't have to worry about that. I want to go to. At 5th level, when yeah, let's change this. When you could deal sneak attack damage, you can instead sacrifice your sneak. You can instead sacrifice this additional damage. To instead generate you can instead sacrifice this extra damage to gain temporary damage. To gain a number of temporary mana equal to the max rank of power you have gained as a rogue. Fifth level, 2 mana. Level mana 5, 2, 9, 3, 13, 4, 17, 5. At 5th level, when you could deal sneak attack damage, you can instead sacrifice this extra damage to gain a number of temporary mana equal to the max rank of power you have gained as a rogue. So if you bail from the class early, you're going to be capped at fifth. Like if you bail after 5th level, you're going to be capped, sacrifice all your sneak attack dice, but only be able to channel, only gain up to 2 mana. To gain a number of temporary mana. To channel a strike power. You gain the martial strike power. In addition, let's add a line here. In addition, you add the martial strike power. In addition, you always have the martial strike power prepared without counting against the total number of powers you can prepare. Period. There. So, and the martial strike power increases your power die. So at 5th level, it'd be a D6. Now it becomes a D8. So you would sacrifice at 5th level. You would sacrifice 3d6. You'd throw those away, and instead you'd get 2d8 from a martial strike and be able to use a weapon mastery with it. Or if, like, say you decided to prepare a freezing strike, you would deal 2d6 damage with freezing strike, and you would, like, freezing strike's effect is like half your target's movement. Your movement's target is reduced by half until the beginning of your next turn. That's how that works. 5d12 is 60 damage as opposed to 10d6, which is 60 damage at 19th level. And with normal sneak attack, you can deal you can use a weapon mastery. So sneak attack plus weapon mastery, or you can sacrifice your sneak attack and use your power dice instead and roll at 17th level 5d12 and also use a weapon mastery, or deal 5d10 damage plus like banishment or whatever. You've got that kicker effect going. I'm pretty good with that. That makes you really strong tactically. It doesn't outpace what anyone else can do. You could choose to deal your sneak attack damage and then spend mana to ramp the damage beyond that if you want to. But the rogue doesn't have a lot of ways to generate extra mana. So I want to go back and look at, first off, we can get rid of the improved cunning power. And we can get rid of superior cunning power. Cunning power. There it is. And this just becomes empty. And I still get elusive. There we go. So yeah, we just have a gap at 11. I think I'm okay with a gap at 11. I bet we could find something interesting to do with 11. Okay, now we want to go back and look at power over precision, because that's got to change. Because if we're going to sacrifice all of our sneak attack dice to gain mana, then cunning power doesn't make any sense anymore, because we've already sacrificed all of our sneak attack dice. We're not giving anything up. We're just getting free power. That's broken. So we have to go and fix that. So what I want to do, I think, is change the action economy that we have built into I think we want to monkey around a little bit with the temporary mana that you can generate. Again, empowered actions, you can use a reaction to gain 1 point of mana. The rogue specifically can sacrifice movement to generate 1 point of mana. And we also have bonus actions 1, 2, and 3, and attacks. So the rogue is the only class that gains a reaction that can use their movement to generate mana. That's actually really important. And then maybe we need to tweak it just a little bit more. So that feels right. Allowing the, honestly, of all the character classes, the rogue being able to cheat action economy more than other classes makes a lot of sense, because you don't get the extra attacks that you would normally get. So I want to ramp that a little bit. I can't ramp up the mana that you get from reactions, because you can take opportunists and get multiple reactions. No, because those reactions are really fucking important. So let's let's monkey around with that a little bit. Let's see. There we go. Improved. Empowered reactions. Improved empowerment. Sneak attack. These can't power. So we're getting rid of power over precision. Actually, power over actions. And this would then become at 11 improved power over actions.
power. Maybe we want to call it cunning power. Actually, cunning power makes more sense. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Steady aim. Cunning action. Oh, maybe we change that to cunning. No, we keep cunning action as it is. Steady aim. This feels good. I'm just trying to parse out all the information. Steady aim. Or to gain advantage on your next attack during your turn. Steady aim. Let's call it steady power. I see opportunities starting to arise for using steady power. Let's use cunning action, cunning power. Let's go with that. No, damn it. We already have cunning power at 5th. Cunning action. Empowered. Damn it, what do we want to call this? Cunning actions? No, we want to leave cunning action as it is. Power actions, powered. How do we want to do this? I like cunning power. I'm still good with that. When at 5th level, instead of when you can deal sneak attack damage, it can instead sacrifice this this extra damage to gain a number of temporary mana equal to the max rank of power you have gained as a rogue to channel a strike power. Period. In addition, you always have the martial strike power prepared without counting against the total number of powers you can prepare. That ends up working out. Uncanny dodge. Cunning action. There it is. Uncanny power. Nice. Found it. Cunning power, uncanny dodge, uncanny power. Nice. So, uncanny power, 3rd level. Cunning, let's see. Rogue subclass. Let's do uncanny power at 2nd. Stacking up too much on 3rd just doesn't feel right. Uncanny power, improved uncanny power. Perfect. Uncanny power. There we go. 2nd rank. Uncanny power.
Cunning Action, Uncanny Power. You can sacrifice your movement to generate 1 point of mana or to gain advantage on your next attack during your turn. 3rd level, and then at 11th level. This is working out. Improved Uncanny Power. When you sacrifice your movement or a reaction to generate mana, your ability to sacrifice actions, to sacrifice action economy to generate mana improves. When you sacrifice your movement, you can choose to generate 2 mana or gain advantage on your next attack. When you sacrifice a reaction, you can generate your ability to sacrifice action money to generate mana improves. When you sacrifice your movement or a reaction, you can choose to generate 2 mana instead of 1. There. Your ability to sacrifice action economy to generate mana improves. That's probably not the best flavor text, but I'd say of all the things, flavor text is my weakest. So that's okay. When you sacrifice your movement or reaction, when you sacrifice your movement, let's change that. Sacrificing your ability to generate temporary mana improves. Sacrificing your movement or reaction. Sacrificing your movement and reactions. And reaction can generates 2 points of mana, 2 points of temporary mana instead of 1. Sacrificing your movement and reaction. Now generates 2 points of temporary mana each. Instead of sacrificing your movement and reaction, now generates 2 points of temporary mana each instead of 1. That's really good. That you can sacrifice your movement to generate a free point of mana at 3rd level is pretty good unto itself. 2 mana at 11 is really good. As your reaction, 1 mana is good. 2 is really good. If you take Opportunist, you can sacrifice your attack action to generate 2 mana to create a reaction that you could then sacrifice to create 2 mana, or you can make 2 separate sneak attacks. And when you take the sneak attack, you can sacrifice the sneak attack damage to generate free mana equal to the max rank that you've gained as a rogue. So you replace your sneak attack with strike powers. Period, flat, no change, no compromise. Easy peasy. This works out. Reliable talent. Whenever you make an ability check that uses one of your skill or tool proficiencies, you can treat a d20 roll of 9 or lower as a 10. Evasion we know, expertise we know, uncanny dodge we know. The new thing, reliable power at 14. Whenever you roll a power die as any result that is less than the max rank of power you've gained as a rogue is increased to that number. At 14th level, you have 4 ranks of power, and you're rolling a D8. You're rolling a D10. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, it's a 4. At 17th level, your max rank of power is 5. If you roll a 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the D10, it now becomes a 5. So that becomes a reliable power, which complements the reliable talent at 7. 7 levels later, reliable power. There you go. Slippery Mind, 15, we know this already. You gain proficiency in Wisdom and Charisma saving throws. Elusive at 18, no attack roll and can have advantage against you unless you have the incapacitated condition. Epic Boon at 19. And then Stroke of Luck. If you fail a d20 test, you can turn the roll into a 20. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. You can use this feature again. You can expend. Thank you. As a third, fourth rank exploit, if you fail a d20 test, you can turn the roll into a 20. Once you use this feature as a fourth rank exploit, yeah, there we go. So it costs you 4 mana to use it, but you can use it as often as you want. As opposed to only being able to use it once per long rest, we're going to give you a charge. It's an exploit, so you can buy down the cost by 1 if you want to. But it's a 4th rank exploit. Anytime you spend 4, or if you choose 3, if you want to spend a prepared power to improve Stroke of Luck, you can drop the cost down to 3 mana instead of 4. So whenever you use it, you spend 3 mana, which you could use your action economy. You could use your reaction to generate 2 points of mana to make this 0 cost. So you could use this for free. Oh god, 4th rank exploit, 3rd. Yeah, it always costs you at least 1. If you use your reaction, you can gain 2 points of free mana. If you prepare Stroke of Luck once, which you can do once, you can reduce the cost by 1, so it goes from 4 mana down to 3 mana, and you can use your reaction to generate 2 free points of mana to pay for 2 of those points, so that Stroke of Luck now becomes 1 point if you're willing to sacrifice your reaction and prepare it as one of your powers. You can drop the cost down to 1, so anytime you fail a d20 test, you can spend a point of mana, and that roll is now considered a 20 plus whatever bonuses you add on top of it. Stroke of Luck, that's really good for a 20th level rogue feature. That's really fucking good. You can basically spend your entire mana pool on Stroke of Lux, just nailing ability checks just repeatedly. That's for a 20th level feature. It's not as good as Wish, but it's pretty fucking good. So there you go. Hey, that's the new rogue. So when we go through the rogue, what we want to pay attention to is we're going to rebuild all the subclasses for rogue. So what we really want to pay attention to are how can we exploit uncanny power and the revisions to the cunning power features, and then the improved uncanny power. This is, oh my god, this is so much better. This is so much cleaner, much more simple. It was too convoluted. We've had somebody play testing a rogue at 6th level in our mega dungeon on Saturday mornings. We do play testing on my Discord server. If you guys are interested in that stuff, you are welcome to drop in. The link is down below. It's free to join. Welcome to it. But yeah, so we have a 6th level rogue that's running with the party right now, and the uncanny power, as it was, sacrifice a number of sneak attack dice to gain free mana to spin on strike powers. You're now rolling different type of dice, and you're having to do more math than I want you to, it gets confusing. You can just remove all your sneak attack dice and just use strike powers as intended. Or you can keep your sneak attack dice and spend mana on top of it to ramp your damage, which is also fine. So the paladin can spend 5 mana to deal up to by spending your bonus action to generate free mana and combine it with your mana pool. A paladin can dump up to 8 mana into a strike power, and if you were using martial strike, it'd be 12-sided dice. So you can throw 8 12-sided dice to add to your smite damage as a paladin, which is going to be up to 96 damage cap, plus your weapon, plus your normal weapon damage. Compare that to like a Paladin 2 Sorcerer 18 can use a 9th, 8th, 7th, 7th, 6th, 6th level spell slots to ramp your Paladin smite damage beyond what even a Paladin solo class can do. That's dumb. So we're stripping out the Divine Strike, the Divine Smite, and all the Paladin Smite spells, and we're replacing them. We've already replaced them with Martial Strikes that anyone gets access to that has martial power, but the Paladin can combine their action economy from their bonus action with their mana pool or generated mana from attacks to dump in up to 8 mana for as much as actually like 5 mana from your mana pool. Now we're dealing 96 damage compared to the 10d8 that you would get from 2nd level Paladin, 18th level Sorcerer would be 9th level spell slot plus 1 die. It's going to be 10d8 damage, which caps at 80. Our Paladin caps at 96, but the Rogue can do 10d6, and if you're willing to spend 5 mana from your, you could deal an extra 5d12, so you could potentially do up to 120 damage before crit as a rogue, being the highest damage dealing striker in the game. Single targets, but the rogue doesn't have the ability to generate mana the way that the paladin can. So it's going to cost you. You could sacrifice your movement, you could sacrifice your reaction to generate 4 mana for free. It would then cost you 1 point of mana from your mana pool to use an attack, because you've already used your bonus act, you've already used your reaction, you've already used your movement. You could use your bonus action if you wanted to generate another 3 mana. So you can get 5 mana for free if you cash out all of your action economy to make your 1 attack as a rogue. If you hit, then you can blow all that mana, and you'd be able to do 10d6 and 5d12 under optimal conditions. You could potentially make it free, but that's all you're going to do this round. So, compared to the Paladin being able to cap at 120, I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. That makes the Rogue, like staying in Rogue to 17th level, that actually makes it worth. Like, a lot of people don't feel it's worth staying in Rogue through 20 levels. I think this makes it worth staying in Rogue for 20 levels. All these things multi-class together really nicely. But most of these class features are keyed on how long have you stayed. Like, almost everything is a measure of the max rank of power you've gained in this class. So like if you took like Paladin 4, like if you took Paladin 5, Fighter 5, Ranger 5, Monk 5, you'd get a fuck ton of things that you could do. And you'd be able to channel up to 5th rank power, but you would only have D6 power dice, because you have to gain levels in a single class to increase your power die. Your mana pool will continue to increase. Your power die wouldn't change because you haven't gotten to 9th level in any of your classes, but you'll have a ton of abilities. But all of those abilities are going to be capped at 2d6. So you're both rewarded and penalized at the same time for multi-classing. Multi-classing gives you more options and gives you more mana, but the power that you wield with that mana stays at a lower die, and you can't prepare higher, like 5-5-5-5 4-way multi-classing. That's going to limit you to 2nd rank. Like, you can't learn anything higher than 2nd rank because you never gain 9th level in any single class. So you're limited to second rank powers using 2d6 at most, but you'll have a crap ton of abilities because the number of powers that you prepared powers that you gain is by class level. It's like you could have a ton of prepared powers of like if you multi-class like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, like you just like dipped 8 classes for 1 level each. Yeah, you'd get a lot of powers, a lot of prepared powers, but you would only be first rank in all those powers. You'd only be able to do 1d6 extra for each. So like you could like load up on feats and masteries and damage types, but you wouldn't be able to do a lot with it. Like you'd be able to spend 1 mana at a time on any given power, and you wouldn't have any powers that are above first rank. Most of the power, like half of the powers, are first rank, plus all the meta powers that you can learn at first rank as well. So like 2/3 of the powers that are available to these classes you can get at first level. So you could absolutely like single class dip the fuck out of stuff. Like all eight of these classes, you could just take 1 level dips in all of them and gain a ton of class features, but they're all really low level power. That'd be like going Wizard 19 Fighter 1 and getting access to all the goodies that Fighter gets access to, but again, only be able to spend 1 mana at a time. Even though you have 76 mana in your mana pool, you get 75 mana back on a long rest. You get 9 points back, 10 points back on a short rest once per day as a wizard, and you get 1 point back as a fighter on a short rest. So you can get 11 mana back on a short rest, and then 1 mana for every additional short rest after the first, plus the 75 mana from the wizard. But you'd only be able to spend 1 point at a time on any martial powers that you have. So it would be better for you just to load up on feats, which is unto itself pretty fucking cool. Like getting all the combat masteries and all the fighting styles, plus, Poisoner and a whole bunch of other cool stuff like Great Weapon Master and Polearm Master and Sentinel. Those are all really in like Slasher feat, Piercer feat, Crushing feat. Those are all really good feats to stack up on your character if you don't want to worry about wielding power. Like you can go like Fighter, Barbarian, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Artificer. Let's just load them up. Anyway, so that's where we're at for now. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut stream, and we're going to pick this up tomorrow. So at lunch tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. -8 UTC in Seattle on the west coast of America, a specific time. That'll be what, 6 hours from now, 18 and a half hours from now. We'll be back on to continue working on the Rogue. And I'll be back tomorrow morning to continue working on the Eberron art that I do in the mornings. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. Thanks a lot for checking this stuff out. If you think it's cool, I stream 9 times per week, afternoon and evenings like this. I do game design Monday, Thursday nights, Tuesday, Friday lunches, and then Monday through Friday in the morning. I do an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of Eberron art. So stick around. I've been here for years. I plan on continuing to do this until I die, or the ability to do so is taken from me. And so I'm here for the long haul. Hopefully you think this stuff is cool and are willing to stick around too. So be welcome to drop by, say hi. I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.